Loading. System update. You are now part of the herd.
Do a double take, see me on fire, see that I can break. Knew I'd be great, knew I would rise through all of the pain. All of the lows, so within now, keeper of all faith, never change.
Hi guys, welcome back to Loading Her. I just want to thank you guys for all the feedback that I've received on my last episode with Rebecca. It was so much fun to do. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was everything that I was looking for from an interview, and I can't wait until I get to do another interview in the future. I appreciate all the love that I've been receiving. I appreciate you guys for following along and listening and liking, rating, subscribing. Anything helps. And also sharing with your friends and family helps as well. So I really appreciate you guys. After releasing this podcast, I haven't really been out and about in town recently, but this past weekend, I have ran into a few people that I haven't seen in a while, and they obviously brought the podcast up and were talking to me about things that they've been through, and a few different people have. And like I've said in my past episodes, I usually try to base what I'm going to talk about on my podcast with what is a reoccurring theme in my life. And my theme recently, I think, has been something that we all search for. I think it's something that we crave, we chase, we learn how to have it and hold on to it. It's a force that I think a lot of us struggle with, and that's love. Love in all forms. Love we have for ourselves, which personally I think is the most important. Love we have for others, love we learn about. And I really think that love, even I just think it speaks for itself and how important it is to have it in your life, and not just in a romantic way. I think love fuels our growth, our peace, our connections. I think it is just one of the most important forces out there. And I think it's something that we all crave. And I just think it's so important. So that has been a reoccurring thing in my life. And it just made me really want to talk about love, self-love first, because I think that self-love is how I have been able to do anything, move forward in my relationship with anyone. I think it's something that I definitely did not have for a long time, and something that I acquired over time with a lot of healing, a lot of practice, a lot of therapy, a lot of work. And once I found it, like I've said before, I kind of got this, I don't want to say cocky mentality, but I put this barrier up around me that felt like I was being harsh. And still sometimes I feel that way in a protective way. I feel like I need to protect myself from certain energies, certain situations, really anything that doesn't feel good to me, I try to protect myself from it because I feel like I hold on to things and I feel like I feel guilty and I am really hard on myself. So I have had to learn self love and continue to learn it. I mean, it is an ongoing, never ending learning experience. And I believe that once you start to figure out how to have self love, you start learning obviously more about yourself, what you're comfortable with, what you're capable of. I think it gives you this power and confidence that you could walk into a room and know where you stand, even if you are still like I've shared before, I have social anxiety, but being comfortable in my skin and having that self-love, I think is unrelated to my social anxiety because I can still walk into a room with my head held high, knowing what I need from certain situations or what I want from certain situations. And it makes me more trustworthy for how I handle certain situations. Not that I don't still come home and feel guilty sometimes when I speak my mind or stand up for myself. Like I said, my self love journey is, I feel like, never ending, but I have opened the door to self love, and that has been life changing for me. I think that is how I've been able to open up creative outlets for myself, such as this podcast. I think it's how I am capable of, like some people probably think, I'm a jack of all trades or a Jill of all trades. I'm doing everything. And I think because I choose to have self love and I choose to listen to myself and what I need and how I need it, I know where to draw the line and I know how to have a boundary. And I think that is the most important thing, especially when you're doing something that opens you up and makes you raw to the world. I also feel like boundaries are a forever learning lesson for me as well. Not necessarily like, okay, so boundaries in love, I feel like I have done a good job of learning that in this relationship that I am in now. But boundaries for other people that I'm not really close to are more difficult for me for some reason. It's like I I don't know where that line is yet. It's like my line is very far away from me for for what I allow close to me. And I feel like that's not how it's supposed to be. I feel like I can have love for myself and also carry love for others, if that makes sense. Love for others, I mean holding space for people. I mean really honestly holding space for people because that sometimes feels very heavy for me. And I think that is because I've done all this work to be where I'm at. I have to find that boundary. And I really think that that is the journey of self love. I personally, like, I'm not a therapist, I'm just sharing my experiences. So I feel like I have to say that. But personally, I think self love is, it begins with setting boundaries and listening to yourself, having that access to the parts of you that are telling you what you need. Whether it's a day of rest, which is the hardest thing for me to listen to because I am so driven and I do want success for myself. I sometimes struggle trying to balance rest and hustle because I am very much hustle all the time. And if I set time aside to rest, I end up feeling guilty about it. But I think boundaries are the most important place to start with self-love. And I think once you create those boundaries and once you're able to hear what your body needs, everything opens up for you and you are more capable of trusting yourself and trusting the decisions that you make and the people you choose to have around yourself. And you start to see the kind of people that you don't necessarily want to have in your life. And that is also a hard thing to go through. I really think that people you surround yourself with, like anyone that you ask that is successful and doing big things with their life, I really think that the people you surround yourself with are key. I think the people that choose to make decisions that align with your life and what they choose to do with their free time is so important with the decisions that you make and how you move forward and how you feel inspired. Personally, for myself, I mean, I don't want the only times that I hang out with my friends to be focused around going out. Sometimes I like to go out, obviously. Sometimes I like to have a good time and be out and about and go to dinner and have some drinks, obviously. But I also want those friendships that are like, hey, I'm painting my house today. Come over and let's paint some walls together. Or you want to grab a coffee or go to a yoga class, like stuff like that. And also, even the friendships professionally that align with where I'm at, like want to go to a class that has to do with real estate or something that we can learn together. Stuff like that, I think for me, not to knock anybody that chooses to spend their weekends going out and drinking with their friends, like that's what you want to do. But I really think that if there's things that you want in life and there's things you want to accomplish, the people around you that are trying to accomplish not necessarily similar things, but to be successful and be accomplished, if you align, those are the people you want to be around. And the people that are calling you to go drinking every night or abusing your time and your energy with whatever drama is going on in their life all the time, sucking you dry of your, I don't want to say compassion, because I think you can have love and compassion for someone's story and what they're going through, because obviously sometimes we all need someone to talk to. But I also think there are people that abuse what they're going through and the fact that you'll listen and give them advice and they don't want to take that advice, but they just want to talk about what they're going through. I think there are people that abuse your time and abuse your good vibrations, kind of how me and Rebecca were talking about, like, yeah, heal yourself and then I'll let you close to me kind of thing. I think it is very important who you let in, essentially, past that barrier of like, oh, this is my boundary. And then my soul is back here. Like, I have to have that boundary up to protect my soul from whatever your soul is looking for from me. I'm not saying that they have a darkness to them, but I am saying that there are people that feed off of the people that have done the work. And it's hard because you want to be compassionate if you've done the work, but you also need to protect yourself. So, long story short, self-love equals boundaries. It's not just coming home and having a bubble bath and reading a book, which I also think are very important things, is to take that time to yourself with no screens to listen to what your mind is telling you, to be outside in nature, and also to remember to be present. I really think that, especially me as a go-getter, because I really think I forget to take a second sometimes. And I have to remind myself, like, hey, let's just sit here with our eyes closed and let's just breathe. Or sometimes I like listening to my audiobooks or my podcasts and I get caught up, and next thing I know, I've had my earbuds in my ears the whole time I'm going through my day. And I try to then take my dogs on a walk with no earbuds and just listen to the outdoors. And I think those forms of self-love are very important as well. And that goes hand in hand with moving your body and respecting your body enough to be careful about what you put in your body. Because, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just speaking about my experience. But once you have that clarity of your clear mind and you're moving your body and you're breathing and you're drinking water, and you really, you feel this clarity. I mean, this is coming from someone that used to love to drink every day and has done my fair share of drugs and loves to eat pizza, and all of that stuff is good and fine. Obviously not drugs, but that's my own personal opinion. But the balance is key. Like, you really find this clarity once you have your mind not clouded from essentially darkness. I mean, that is the way that I see it in my mind. I'm not saying that you are dark or bad because you are partaking in these things, but I'm saying that for me, it feels a little darker and it feels a little heavier and you feel a little bit more cloudy. And our bodies are organic matter and they're not meant to constantly be clouded. And I think the closer you get to not being cloudy and doing the things that your body needs to nourish it, the closer you get to leaning more into being intuitive rather than anxious. And although anxiety is still very much real in my life, it's easier to pinpoint. And for a long time, I struggled with, is this anxiety or is this my intuition? Is this anxiety or is it my intuition? I don't know. I can't tell the difference. And a lot of the times it was anxiety, and it was because my body was trying to warn me that I wasn't safe, but it wasn't because I actually wasn't safe. It was because I was doing harm to my body, making me feel like it had to be on alert all the time. And that is really what kind of leaned me away from drinking as much because with drinking for me comes crippling anxiety the next day. And I just don't like to live that way. It feels like I am going to die. It is not fun. And usually I'm really sick too. And I haven't always been that way. So it is a kind of a blessing that it does make me that sick. And like I said, it's not like I don't drink. I just don't drink to the point of being drunk or wasted anymore. It's not like I don't drink sometimes and get tipsy, but having that anxiety the next day was just so not worth it for me. So I really think with all of that comes clarity. And then that is how you can learn what your boundaries are and what you're willing to deal with. And also having the discipline to actually make the choices that align with the things that you want from your life. Because discipline is half the work. Something you do every day is going to manifest itself into what you're looking for and what you're asking for. So if you're working every day to, let's say in my personal life, I'm working to try to build my real estate career right now. And that means I'm consuming myself with books that interest me, people that are successful in real estate. I'm watching what they're doing. I'm doing open houses. I'm trying to get my name out there. And eventually, hopefully, I will build my real estate career into what I'm looking for from it. Do I want to do that every single day? No, but also, yes, it feels fun to be excited about something that inspires you and to dream and feel like you're moving forward. And also, recently I was talking about hiking with somebody, and hiking it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Like I hiked, I'm sure most of you know this, but some of you may not. I hiked 500 miles the Appalachian Trail in 2017 from Georgia to Virginia. I'd never done anything like that before. I'd done little hikes here and there, but it was never something that I experienced deeply. And I'll tell that story a whole nother day, but most of the time I wanted to throw myself off the mountain or break my leg or do something to get out of it. Come to find out later, my pack was too heavy and we had to readjust and so on. But the hike was beautiful because of getting to the top and how it felt to accomplish that. The hike was the hard part, but accomplishing something so hard to get to something so rewarding, it's something that I crave. Even to this day, I want to do it again, even though it was the hardest but most rewarding thing I've ever done. I crave it. And I think hiking is similar to having that discipline to accomplish the things that you want and to manifest them into what you're looking for from life. Because all the people that you look up to or that you aspire to be like, some of them might have gotten lucky, but most of them have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish and are where they are because they've had the discipline and they've learned and they've worked towards what they wanted. I'm not saying that's happened for everyone, but for someone like me, I'm not even saying there's people out there that are looking up to me or that want to be like me, but from starting at the bottom, I wasn't handed anything in my life. And I'm not saying that as like a brag or feel bad for me or whatever, but I moved out when I was 17. I wasn't handed anything. I wasn't handed a car. I wasn't handed this is how you handle your money. This is how you do this or that. It was something that I sink or swim. I had to learn, and I chose to learn, and I chose to do the work and trust myself to make the decisions to get me to where I am today. And I think that's part of the battle. Having the self-love to have the discipline, have the respect, set the boundaries, and also not be so hard on yourself, which is something I still struggle with often. I want to ask you, what is something that you can do this week to show yourself love? It doesn't have to be something hard. It doesn't have to be something that is exhausting for you. It can be setting aside some time, walking through nature, taking some deep breaths outside, anything that will make you feel like you're giving yourself a hug. Friends often share with me things that they're struggling with, and even family members. And I think a lot of it comes down to having that respect for yourself to know when to walk away from certain situations. And even if you want it so bad, or you've had it for so long that it feels familiar to you, like let's say a job or a person in your life, a friendship, but it's not serving you. I think that's been a reoccurring thing from what I've heard from people that I love. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to be like, this is not serving me, and walk away. There's a right way to walk away, obviously, especially in the professional world, but there's always more out there. There's so much out there for us. It's insane. And we are capable of anything that we want to do. And I think, like I've said many times, the scary things are what mold us into being her, the her you want to be. Successful, for me, these are my things. Balanced, healthy, I don't want to say without trauma, but very much healed for my daughters or sons that I choose to have in the future. I think that's where my self-love journey came, is that I don't want to be the mom that my kids are having to learn how to heal from my own personal traumas. I want to heal through my traumas and not put that weight on my kids. So, self-love is knowing when to stop, knowing when to choose you, knowing when to walk away, whatever that may look like for you. Realizing that you are capable of anything, anything. And I believe it. I think all of us are capable of anything. I think whether it's a partner that you're looking for, that you've been wanting, a healthy relationship that's not toxic, the second that you say no and choose yourself in that manner, a toxic relationship with work, a toxic relationship with a friend, anything that doesn't feel good to you, the second you choose to say no and walk away and choose yourself, you get a little bit of a spark of like, so that's what that feels like. That's what that power feels like. And it's kind of like a high. You put yourself first and you trust yourself and you see what you're capable of, things start to change and they start to unfold for you. Opportunities that you never thought that you could have start to unfold for you. Doors start to open. Different kind of people start to come into your life. There's a magic to it. I really, really think that. And I sit here coming from a past, a dark place where I let people take from me that didn't deserve to have pieces of me. It's less for me in the professional world, but it still has been a thing that I've had to go through. I think a lot of the people that come to me about the professional part of having to draw a boundary with some job that's taking from them is more so in the corporate world. I'm not really in that world, but things really start to open up when you trust yourself and you take a leap forward. I really think that with high risk, or I don't necessarily mean high risk, but like the things that scare you, you start to learn and you start to grow and things start to open up for you. I also want to talk about love in romantic relationships, which I've kind of touched on a little bit. As I've shared in past episodes, I've let people, men, have a lot of me that they have not deserved. I have also let people that I loved because I thought that because I felt a certain way and they said they felt that way, that that was true. Like that we felt the same way, which is crazy if you think about it. Like you say you love me and I say I love you, but that can mean two different things. That can mean something totally different to you that it means to me. And I am a firm believer in if they want to, they will. I have been the girl that has wanted love so bad that she was the cool girlfriend or the one that chased after, or I mean, I have been all the things because I wanted it so bad. The girl that doesn't care, but she really does. The girl that would do anything for you, the girl that would, whatever it may be. I have tried on many hats in the love department. Finally, I don't wear a hat. And I feel like I am in a relationship where there is mutual love and respect, and I don't question it. It doesn't hurt. It did at one point, but that took work. And it took both of us having the respect for each other to realize that that's what we're looking for. We both just want to feel safe, and we both just want to feel heard and supported and loved. I personally believe after everything I've been through with love, it's not supposed to hurt. It does sometimes because we are human. And I think that that is the human experience. I think pain is the human experience. But I don't think that love is supposed to be something that hurts to your core or that you have to fight for or beg for or pretend to be something else for or dress a certain way for, or you're the only one going out of your way for this person, or you have to let down your boundaries for. I mean, even that you have to worry about them being in a room that you're not in. I don't think that that is how love is supposed to feel. I think after a lot of work, and these feelings still creep in for me, trusting that person to have your best interest in mind at all times, whether you're there or not, is what love is supposed to look like. I think with healthy relationships, you are allowed to share what your boundaries are. You are allowed to share your deepest thoughts and opinions and not have to be scared because you need something from that relationship. I mean, there's some days that I am just not feeling it and I just am very emotional and crying. And me and Dustin like to have banter back and forth. Like that's something that we do. We mess with each other. We like to pick on each other sometimes, but sometimes I have to ask him for a day of like love where he has to baby me. But I love the banter. Like that is like one of the things that I love that we do, you know. I'm sure if you like banter as well, you understand, but communication, respect, all of that for me is so important in a romantic relationship. And a lot of my friends and family have come to me with things that they're going through and things that they've been through. And I really think that, especially for us as women, we have to set these boundaries and we have to respect ourselves and our bodies and our minds because not every man out there will. There are men out there that do and that will love you the way you want to be loved and you won't have to ask for it. I used to think that I would never have a relationship where I felt safe and heard and loved. I just thought that I would always want more because every time I'd get in a relationship, it was like I needed more. And it was like sometimes we would break up because he would be like, I can't meet you where you're at. You always need more from me. And I would be like, yeah, it just doesn't feel like enough, you know? And it just means they weren't the right person. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. They just weren't the right person. Because the right person, I think, from where I'm sitting, feels whole. It doesn't feel like I need more. I think with any relationship, with yourself, with friends, family, I think love is so important. And I think with love comes forgiveness. With love comes patience. And sometimes with love comes giving somebody a little bit of space. You can love somebody without being on top of them. I struggle with that. I like to be around the people that I love. I like to try to talk through things that I'm going through or that they're going through. And sometimes with friendships, seeing, or even with my siblings, seeing them go through things that I feel like I've already learned. I feel like parents probably feel this way. A lot of mothers out there feel this way when you have to watch somebody that you love go through something that you've already learned, or be in a relationship with somebody that you can tell is not a good person. It's hard to not want to shake them or express how you're feeling about this because you don't want to see them get hurt. But sometimes you have to love them from afar. Take a few steps back. Not with anger or any kind of resentment in mind, but letting them know that you love them and support them. And sometimes it is so hard to do for me because I feel like obviously somebody who's not in it, it's easier for them to see the picture, the full picture, because they're not deep in it. They're not emotionally connected to whatever's going on. And it is so hard to sit and watch somebody hurt, and any kind of hurt, whatever that may look like. But I know for me, I'm stubborn. I had a lot of people trying to tell me to get out of situations that I was in. Did I listen? No. Would I have ever listened? No. Eventually, I came to the decision on my own because it had to be my idea, of course. But I know a lot of us go through that. And sometimes distance is what people need. But that doesn't mean you don't love them. I think love is so important on any level, whether it's with our family members, our friends, ourselves. God, most especially ourselves. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. But love is also important for people that aren't like us, for people that don't have the same beliefs that we have, for people that don't look like we do, or go through life like we do, or make the decisions that we do. Not everybody has the same moral compass that you do. I'm talking to myself when I say this. But a lot of the reasons that I wanted to start this podcast was for a sense of community and unity and mutual respect and love, and for people to realize how similar we really are as humans and as women. And I just think that love is so important. Even if you're going through your day and you're having a terrible day and you just want to like go off on someone, or someone's being stupid or rude to you or whatever that may be, sometimes keeping that to yourself and smiling through it is bigger and says more than speaking what you're going through or telling them how stupid they are or whatever. Even if it triggers an emotional response in you, which I very much am familiar with. I am a very direct person, and it is sometimes so hard for me to not tell people what I'm thinking, because a lot of the times I feel like with this deep compassion that I feel for people comes this capability to see things from other people's perspectives. At least so I think. I could be totally wrong because I don't know what they're going through, but I think that I do. And I think that I can see the whole big picture. It's hard for me to not want to voice my opinion to certain situations. And that's okay too. It's okay to stand up for yourself. I feel guilt every time I stand up for myself. But there's a time and a place, there's a way to do it. And I really think if there's anything that we need right now is more love. I think love is the answer. Love brings understanding. I think a lot of us want the same things in life. And we don't have to be exactly alike to love each other. We don't have to have similar opinions or want the same things to be kind. I think love connects us all, and I think love can change a lot of things. And if there's anything that we need right now is mutual respect and love. And I feel like I've said the word so much that it's lost its meaning, but to me it is so important. And I really want this community to be a community of love and for us to hold space for each other, no matter what we're going through, no matter what our lives look like, no matter what we believe in, who we surround ourselves with, what we're struggling with. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, like, we are all very similar. And you can have boundaries and protect yourself from negative things and negative people, but still love them. And still love yourself. I think if we all work to lead with love and respect, the world can change. And I think that it is very important to start with knowing what love looks like for yourself, for you, to yourself. And once you are able to pinpoint what love looks like for you and to you, then sharing that love with others. I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I just feel like if there's one thing that I have been trying to learn, it's about love. How to be in healthy relationships with myself, with others, with men, with my family members. I'm not saying I do it right all the time. But if there's one thing I do know is that I do love, and I love hard. And that makes me loyal. And now that I've learned that love for myself, I'm now loyal to myself and the decisions that I make for me. And it really has changed a lot of things for me and the way I see other people. So this week, I challenge you to practice love in one new way, whether it's towards yourself, towards someone you care about, or even towards a stranger. Maybe somebody you disagree with. Remember, guys, love is the foundation and everything else builds from there. I really believe that. That has been my mantra recently. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. As overused as it is, it starts with us. It starts with one person, then two, then three. That's why I'm here. That's why I have the microphone. to share what I'm going through, to share what other people have shared with me. I think it's important for some reason for me to have created this space to speak about the things that I've learned. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I'm being called to this space, but it is here and I'm here doing it. And I just can't wait to see where it goes. So, with that being said, I really am so appreciative of you guys for listening, for following along, and for sharing. As always, you can write into me about anything. I would love to share your story with people if you're comfortable on the podcast. I would love to have a segment where we say something we're going through or anything, so we can create that space for people to hold space for us so things don't feel so heavy or scary, because 9 times out of 10, somebody else is going through the same thing you're going through or has been through it. I have some really exciting things in store for this. I just can't wait to see where it goes. And I just love you guys. And I love doing this. So you listening and following along makes it to where I can do this. So thank you guys so much. Truly. I really do love you. We'll talk soon, guys. I'm Haley Binkley, and this is Loading Her. Bye.
Yeah, I earned it. It's my destiny.